What's going on, guys? I'm gonna do another quick video here. This one's gonna be again on something else that I own. It's gonna be on my B&T or Brewer and Tomat GHM9. GHM9, that stands for Grasshopper Mouse 9. That's just them throwing a little bit of shit at the CZ Scorpion, which I guess they consider to be their competitor. Which I guess it definitely is. But if you don't know, grasshopper mice, they eat centipedes and spiders and yeah, scorpions. So it's pretty cool. They have this little, where the receivers meet, they have this little grasshopper mouse eating a scorpion. And I'm not going to show it to you, just Google it. I'm not going to be able to get a good vantage point from my phone up top here. So anyway, this is just going to be my personal take on this gun, some pros and cons, things I like, things I don't. Just basic info on it. If you really need more information, if you're interested in it, just go to their website, find it. You know, I'm not that source. I'm just doing this for fun. This is just info. That's it. Just putting it out there. Yeah, let's begin, I guess, with the biggest pro about this gun. Definitely the engineering. This gun is almost over-engineered. It kind of reminds me of like the older Swiss Arms 550 series rifles. That thing, I've only shot those in full auto, and this is a semi-auto, but tolerance-wise, it feels very, very similar. You know, it's up to par with that level of engineering. Now, having said that, the biggest drawback of this thing is the damn price. For the price that I paid for this, I expected way more than what I got. I definitely expect more. Things that I shouldn't have to fix and things that I shouldn't need to wish that were better, you know, they should have addressed that at the factory. Not something that I should be taking care of here later on. As it comes from Switzerland, they only import pistols. So if you're trying to do SBRs or anything else, that's, you know, you're gonna have to do that on your own. So even if the rifles, if you have a 16-inch build that you bought yourself a 16-inch pistol, and you have to buy the buttstock and everything else once it's here. You'll have to order it all here. They don't actually import complete rifles, or at least when I bought this a couple years back, they weren't doing so. Yeah, laws might have changed. I don't follow those import-export laws that much, but that was just one of those things where that's what they were doing. They're just importing pistols. Now, let's begin here. Let's begin at the business end of this thing. So the barrel is what they said is 175 millimeters. I don't know what the conversion rate is. That same is, it's under 7 inches, just shy of 7 inches, like 6.8, 6.9, roughly around there. Don't quote me exactly. I don't know what the conversion rate is. You know, I don't know. Nobody else uses inches. Everybody uses millimeters. So yeah, 175 millimeters, and it's definitely interchangeable. You can go shorter. You can definitely go all the way up to 16 inches, just removing the 4 bolts here, change it out. I've seen people use this gun with a 16-inch setup on competition. Not my cup of tea. I don't like the way that looks. I don't like long pistol caliber carbines. That looks silly to me, but I mean, it runs great. At least it did for her. Let's see, what else I would have here. In my last video with the Chris's, I did kind of complain a little bit about you don't really have the real estate to set up a light on the Gen 2s, because you have a little spot underneath where the charging handle is, so you can put a rail. But it's kind of weird. So if I were to put this light, which I was actually considering putting it on it, I'm not going to end up doing it, but it would end up kind of fitting my hand like this, me shooting. And that's not going to work. Here with this setup, I've got this old man. I've had this for quite some time. It's a Strike Industry Cobra, I think it was. And that thing, the way I have it set right there, it fits just perfect. So it activates the light exactly as I need it. I can just sit there with it or turn it on, turn it off. It's pretty sweet. Little Enforce, I don't remember what model that was. But that's pretty neat. And underneath these rails, I believe they are M-LOK. I haven't actually taken that apart. Because again, as I'm sitting right now, minus optic and light, this is like a $2,100 and change system, and I'm not really in the mood to take it apart and then be left with excess parts at the end of the day. So let's move on back a little bit here. So I did change out the charging handle. The charging handle is interchangeable for right-handed or left-handed shooters. I got it here on for me, obviously, but the factory one almost felt too skinny, so I switched it to this one's a little beefier and it actually rotates. The factory one almost felt like you're holding like you're charging with like a thick screw or something like that. It wasn't enough, so I changed for this one, and it's red, so it gives it that little bit of pop, you know. Let's keep moving here. Everything is ambidextrous, so let's go ahead and make sure everything is clear. So you see it, weapon is clear. Let's remove the magazine. So again, everything is ambidextrous. I just mentioned you've got the bolt release on both sides, which is placed a little bit oddly, because this would be where for us AR or M4, M16 platform users, this is where the magazine release is. This is where the mag release is here on this one, but on this side is more of a lever. On this side is the button, and then it's a button bolt release on both sides. Now, if you didn't notice before on the beginning, right here, right behind the magazine well is where the bolt catches. So you just depress that upwards, pull backwards, and that's that thing. Now, from factory, the safety selector, or the safety lever rather, this is semi-auto, so it's not a selector. The safety lever here is ambidextrous, exactly as you see here on the thumb side is what you get on the trigger side or on your index side. However, I went with the HB Industry. This is also HB Industries. I don't know if I mentioned it. The HB Industries safety delete, because I don't know if you can tell there, if it were still there, if you put it on fire, it used to dig into my trigger finger knuckle, my index knuckle, and that was annoying to shoot with. It's definitely, it started callousing up just because of the recoil was kind of making, I don't know. It was, I ended up with that patch of raw skin there because it was just, it kept burrowing into my skin. It was annoying. So after one range session with this thing, I had to make some changes to it. Let's talk the trigger real quick. The trigger on this thing, it feels like the clunkiest AR trigger ever. It sounds like the clunkiest AR trigger, like a plastic one, because the trigger is plastic. The hammer can't be, I don't believe it is, but the trigger itself is polymer. But then once you break it all down, it looks, you even see the two pins here holding it in place. It looks a lot like an AR trigger now. So for a $2,000+ system, I want the absolute best trigger that I can get in my gun. So this should have like the best Geisley trigger available, or best Timney trigger available. They all make triggers for just about everything. So I don't know why B&T decided that they were too good to outsource their trigger. You know, companies do it all over the place. I don't know why they didn't do it. That's definitely that's a disappointment of a trigger. Let's see if you can actually, hopefully the camera picks it up. And that's just the clunkiest reset I've ever heard in my life. I hate it. So again, now moving on, let's see the receiver, the lower receiver on this thing. It's all polymer, everything. So I ended up using this elastic bungee cord here, drilled some holes and just wrapped around it, just so it'll give me a better purchase, a better feel when I actually grip the pistol, because it's all plastic and it feels very cheap, because there's no changing it. The very least they could have done, they could have rubberized the lower or something, so you can actually have a decent grip on it. But it feels like, for any of you former military guys or active military guys, it feels kind of like a skinny M249 grip. Hell, do we still use the 249? I hope we do, because if we don't, I'm gonna feel old as fuck. But anyway, it feels like a 249 saw grip, just really skinny, really cheap, very tacky. So I ended up doing this so I can have a little better purchase of this thing. Now, while we're down here, again, the drawbacks to this thing, magazines. So I've only been able to source 2 of these things. It only came with 1. For the price I paid for this thing should come with 6. It's like everything that I have, but it only comes with the 1. And I've only been able to get another one because they're sold out everywhere. And then if you do find it, they're like 45 bucks, you know? So they're not cheap, but they're not expensive. It's a plastic container with a spring, and it's not like, there's nothing about this that I'm looking at that's worth 45 bucks other than B&T said, yeah, you're going to pay $45 for our magazines and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. So here I am trying to outsource or trying to find $45 magazines, and I can't do shit about it. However, one thing they did, the B&T ended up doing that's pretty nifty with the lower receivers. They ended up making new ones now that accept Glock mags. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't want to do that because, again, that's, you know, that's me buying a brand new weapon. This is the bottom. I don't know if I mentioned earlier that this one wasn't serialized at the bottom. This one is. Some of them aren't. They're serialized where the barrel is. This one is serialized on the lower receiver too. But this one is serialized on both top and bottom. I think the top is just like a suggestion. This is a matching. Anyway, so that's something cool that they did end up doing for other people that have a plethora of, you know, Glock mags that they can use. I have some. I just personally don't like the way Glock mags look in pistol caliber. I'm sorry, in carbines. That it looks silly to me, so I won't do it. That's really why I went with this. Let's see. So I'm running this one here with the Trigicon MRO Patrol. I love this optic. This thing is awesome. I've been running this one out for a little while. This thing is damn near bulletproof. I love that thing. And I have it set on an elevated mount. Now this particular mount, can't see if you guys can tell, but I can adjust the height, just loosening it up and moving it forward. Moving it forward and backwards will adjust the height, depending on my cheek weld and everything, on whatever configuration that I'm using. So if I'm running, for instance, I'm going to be using, not on this, but if I were to use this with the PVS 14s or something, and I needed to code witness from the PVS 14 to the red dot, I would move this forward and put the PVS 14 in the back, and then just elevate this until I have the code witness between the PVS 14 or whichever night vision optic you can, you know, run it with. So that's actually a really cool setup by that company that you're able to do that, depending on what you need to be doing. Now, the back here, as I mentioned, this only comes as a pistol, so it won't come with anything. All this you have to purchase separately. So the brace adapter comes separate, and then the tail hook comes separate. So, and you might be able to get both. There's some companies out there that sell both. As a total package, just the brace adapter and the tail hook, this right here, it ran me 630 bucks. That's a whole different gun. That's another gripe that I have about this setup, you know. And like, one of the bad things is that I'm still not done spending money on this damn thing, because I want to get the SD barrel, the SD kit, to run it really, really quiet. As much as I love guns, I hate loud noises. So yeah, just about everything I own has a silencer on it, or a suppressor. Well, listen, it's a silencer. That's what the patent says. So you can call it whatever you want. Let's see if there is anything else about this thing to point out. I think that's about it. You know, just it came with the backup sights, which I thought, you know, whatever, that's pretty cool. I didn't have to actually go out and buy any, but out of the box it was ready to shoot. It just wasn't a $1,500, $1,600 gun out of the box, in my opinion. I still love it. It is definitely a gun worth having. I just wish it were cheaper, and that they would make these damn mags like 25 bucks instead of 45. So again, PMag, if you're listening, Magpool, not PMag, Magpool, make some of these. Make some of these for me, and make me some MPX mags. For the love of God, make me MPX mags. Yeah, so that's about it for this video here. I'll make another one at some point. So hope you like it. Hit the like button if you did. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. And yeah, that's it. Deuces. Hey guys, one thing that I did forget to mention about the GHM9 here, because apparently I am at the age where things are starting to slip. But the barrel, so the barrel I didn't mention earlier, it's actually pretty nifty. It's pretty cool what they did here. But it's got a threaded barrel, 1/2x28. That's the thread pitch for this one. So you can do a direct thread suppressor or silencer on it. But it also has the 3-lug system that's already, it's built into the front of the barrel. Now, a lot of you might know already that B&T, they had a long-standing relationship with HK back in the day. I think they actually used to make their silencers. But that's actually pretty cool that they have that 3-lug deal built into it already, because I like to run my Obsidian 9 on it. It's actually pretty cool. So you just put it in there, twist it, and that's on there. So that's actually pretty sweet that that was built in. Also love this modular can. The thing is pretty sweet. So that is it. That's one of the things that I forgot to mention. And yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoy.